This is the 91st minute.
All right. Yeah, is the average fan being priced out of football? This is a topic that came up in the Discord in our weekly rundown, roundup, whatever you want to call it. It's called Rundown. Yeah, so we've been talking about this. Like, I guess, Hoff, I think it was you that brought it up initially from an article, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, I know we had talked about the price that if you wanted to watch all of your club's games or as much Premier League as you could, it's ridiculously expensive if you are in the UK and in England, I believe, more specifically. And all the figures, I did a lot of stat crunching today, and I believe if you wanted to watch you can't watch every Premier League match live in England. So let's start with that. You can only catch in England, you can only catch about just above 50% of the games live. Part of that is there's a 3 p.m. blackout, and I know you can talk about that a little more, Milo. And it's on different providers, and it's just expensive and hard to watch all of the matches live. But the cost is, from the figures I could find, is about £110 per month. If you want to watch all of the games that are broadcast live. And like I said, that's like just above 50% of the 380 matches per season are broadcast live, which is compared to the other leagues, the other big 5 leagues. The Bundesliga broadcasts 94% of their games live. La Liga, Serie A, and Ligue 1, all of this domestically speaking. So in Germany, 94% of the games are live. In Spain, 100%. In Italy, 100%. In France, 100%. So that's, yeah, the chart that just popped up shows the disparity in the amount of live games that you can actually watch. Cost-wise, I couldn't find how to get these different cable packages, streaming packages in different countries. I could only compare to what we have in the US, and Milo gave me some Canadian numbers as well. In the US, you can watch almost all of the games live. It's not all of them, for $60 on Peacock. And in Canada, you can watch all of them on Fubo, and you said it was $219.
Yeah, so it's cheaper if you sign up for the year. Right. And if you sign up for the year, those monthly fees add up to $219 in Canada. And that will give me every Premier League game, every Serie A game, every League game. Okay. So I watched a lot of Serie A last year, and I was covering it kind of for our wrap-up show, and so it came in handy there. Now, DAZN used to have the rights. DAZN Canada. I know they didn't in the States, because that used to be something me and Cart talked about quite a lot when we're watching games on a Saturday or Sunday morning. And Fubo got the rights that DAZN used to have. So in Canada, Fubo can show every Premier League game. It's great. I mean, for that money, I'm happy to pay that to be able to watch any game I want, multiple games a weekend, and always be able to see my team play. I can also record the games and watch them later if I needed to as well. I think it's more than worth it for me. If, is there a point where I'd go, man, that's not worth it anymore? Maybe. I'm not keen to go back to alternative streaming methods, which we've all done at certain points, which involve pop-ups, having to close pop-ups every few seconds and getting diverted to really sketchy betting websites and stuff like that. We've all been down that road. We've all watched something with that happening. It's super frustrating. Or we tune into a stream that's got a different commentary language. So that's also a thing. Now, as far as the Sky Sports thing, go, because the Premier League's obviously shown on Sky Sports in England, and I think the terrestrial, we have, you know, forgive me if I'm wrong, I don't live in England anymore, and I haven't since 2007, but terrestrial TV is TV that everybody has access to, like BBC One, ITV. They have certain amount of games per year they can show, and they normally will show FA Cup. They'll normally show Europa League, or, you know, one channel might have those games. The Champions League always used to be on ITV. Don't know if it still is. So Sky Sports dominated the Premier League. Now, when Sky Sports came out, really was that deal was one of the things that catapulted the Premier League into the money era. That whole thing really helped it take off. So I never had Sky Sports because the packages were too expensive. When I lived in England and the job I had at that time, I couldn't afford Sky Sports package. I looked at it, I wanted it, couldn't afford it, so I just didn't get it. You know, if I was there now, I'd hope I'd be in a position where I could afford it. But I think, like, it's definitely something to think about. Anyone in chat or in the YouTube comments wants to let us know, you know, how do you find the rates for Sky Sports? Like, do you find it expensive to be able to follow the Premier League? Are you able to see any other football from around Europe? Because you never really used to. I used to watch Gazzetta Football Italia on the weekend, was like a roundup show of Serie A, you know, and everything else was kind of like on Transworld Sport was another show I used to watch that used to show highlights from around the world, different football leagues. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it gets pricey, man. It gets pricey. I remember back when I was in or back around 2006, around that World Cup, I had to, you know, it was $15 a month to get La Liga and the Premier League on US television. This was before the internet, or during the internet, but it wasn't, streaming wasn't a thing. But now it's like, you know, which was pretty high at the time, and I would have thought prices would have gone down, but I feel like they've kind of gone up, and now everything's kind of separated, right? So here you need a Fubo, ESPN Plus, and Paramount Plus, and even Amazon for some matches to watch all the games. Which is,
I feel lucky that the Canadian networks have not gone down that route. They've for the last few years they had them all on DAZN. Now they're all on Fubo. It's the same deal in Canada for both. You know, obviously I don't subscribe to DAZN anymore though, because they do show some things I'd probably watch, but for me it's one, and it's going to be for football. To be honest, I think I think the Premier League are making a massive mistake, and part of it is Sky Sports. That whole link with Sky Sports, whatever it is so deep, because, you know, the Premier League themselves should be broadcasting those games, and you should be able to buy a league pass, much like you can with NBA, NHL, MLB. Like, the fact that you can't buy a league pass for the Premier League, it's ridiculous in 2023. Like, they would make $1 gajillion. You know what I mean? Like, all they have to do is reach out to all the networks and say, sell this, we'll give you a percentage of every one, but we'll be the distributor of the Premier League, you know, league pass. Like, it's crazy that it doesn't happen, and it's because there's too many old timers, you know, probably an old boys network still deeply involved back in England, where a lot of this, you know, they figure they can make more money by piecemealing it out to all these different places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
I also, when I was researching all this, I saw or tried to find the current media contracts, the domestic media contracts. The Premier League are generating $8 million pounds of revenue per match that's televised live. The next closest is the Bundesliga, which is they're at 3 million pounds, which is obviously less than half. So their media deal, the Premier League's media deal, is just crazy. And that's where you see the transfer deals that are north of 100 million pounds, or well, for the most part. But multiple, like the same club with multiple 100 million pound players. It's so the money is coming in for sure. Coupled with that, I thought it was kind of something that I saw an article again, or sorry, I saw a tweet this morning from Derek Ray, who covers the Bundesliga on ESPN Plus here in the States. And I'm sure if you're not in the States, you've heard Derek Ray call some sort of a match. He's a very iconic
FIFA
announcer.
video game, right?
Yeah, he was on FIFA. Yeah.
EAFC. As it's now known.
Sorry. But he said a Kicker's a publication in Germany. Kicker report shows the cheapest tickets at Bundesliga venues for the new season. These are single match prices, the first numbers, as low as 13 euros at Mainz and Union Berlin, while the most expensive of the cheapest. So if you're looking at like the cheaper sections, this is not the midfield pitch side seat. The most expensive of the cheapest tickets are Dortmund and Stuttgart at 1850 euros. And I am the Bundesliga correspondent. I love the Bundesliga model. I didn't know this until today. They're local. If you are taking public transit to the match locally, like if you live within a certain area, I guess, the public transit fee is included in your match ticket. You use your match ticket to travel, like on the U-Bahn or subway, whatever you want to call it. And season ticket wise, the U-Bahn, yeah.
I like that better.
The season tickets, now this is where I'm going to do a little contrasting. The cheapest season tickets are Hoffenheim and Wolfsburg. Again, these are the cheaper seats in the stadium. 150 euros and 160 euros. That's it for the season. And the most expensive of the cheapest seats are Dortmund and Darmstadt, actually. Newly promoted Darmstadt. 250 euros at Dortmund, 256 euros at Darmstadt. So, given those prices, and again, they have a different ownership structure, just a whole different league structure in Germany, so they can afford to not. Match day revenue is not where German clubs pull in the majority of their money. It's not where the media deals are, where everyone does, but even less so with the match day revenue in Germany. In England, season tickets for the Premier League, the lowest, the lowest season ticket, again, of the cheap seats is West Ham, £310 for a season. That's a decent price. I used to have Columbus Crew season tickets, and it was between $500 and $600 a year for, I would say, medium quality seats, like not the best ones, not the cheapest ones. So that's about the same. I don't know the conversion rate today, but that's about the same. Those West Ham prices. The most expensive are actually Arsenal, £973 a season. So that's
the most expensive of the cheapest
of the cheaper seats.
Season tickets. Yeah, that makes sense.
Unbelievable.
And Tottenham are the second most expensive.
Just wait till you have a new stadium to pay for, Carl. That's what I'm going to say. 'Cause you also have to factor in the new stadiums. You do have to factor in the new stadiums. There is a perfect view from every seat that you pay for.
Yeah,
that's where they justify charging you more. So in the older stadiums, there are poles, there are TV lanyards and stanchions and stuff in the way of some people's seats. So just keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Tottenham's lowest is not far behind in their new stadium.
It's 807, so it's about £100 cheaper.
But your most expensive is more. than
Yes.
Arsenal's.
Yep.
So
the
it's,
second,
you know what I mean?
yeah, and the most expensive, which really threw me for a loop, of the highest, like the best of the best seats, I guess, is Fulham at £3,000 a season. I've never been to Craven Cottage. I've only seen it on TV.
I don't know what seat that is because
I can't imagine what seat that is unless it's a luxury box. And even then, do they have luxury boxes at Craven Cottage? I don't know. But I saw that £3,000 number and I don't know if that's right, but that everything else seems legit on the list. So yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's the London thing as well. Maybe there's, you know.
Oh, you definitely London prices are in there. I mean, look at West Ham.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like who really £1,600? I mean, look, those highest prices are club level seats, right? In the new stadiums, that means you've got sandwiches you can go eat in the little room behind your seats. You know,
I want a
it's
sandwich right now.
No, but it's like you know, like in a hockey arena or a basketball arena, you have like box seats.
Yeah.
It'd be like, it's kind of like that.
Buffets.
Right? So those highest price tickets, that's what you get. Now, I can interject a little bit of knowledge here for you because, excuse my cough. I have a little mute button here that helps.
Nice one. Nice one.
Basically, 2001 to 2007 had season tickets, and they were between 1,100 and 1,400. It's somewhere averaged in there per season. You know, very successful period of time for Arsenal. So, you know, did I mind at all? No. Was it expensive for me? Yes. A blue collar worker, like just, you know, I was in a trade, just working and going to watch football. That was basically my life. And it's definitely, it was always expensive, right? It was always expensive. It's, to be honest, it's on top of this when you add in travel, food, drink, week after week after week, and then away games would all be on top of this as well.
Yeah, it adds up. It adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just dying over here, guys. The cough gets worse at night. I'm sorry.
Not good. Yeah. Well, interesting dive into that. I mean, personally, I've been kind of quiet for this section because, you know, cooped up here in California in the middle of nowhere, like there's no football. Like I'm not like, you know, my local college, you know, you get in there with the student ID type of thing, you know, it's like that's about it. Yeah, I mean, it'd be fun to see.
Well, have a look at the equivalent. If you go, I mean, NHL season ticket prices.
Oh, NHL, yeah.
No, I mean, like if you go look at how much are Lakers season tickets? You know, that's the equivalent. What people would be paying for. I think they're going to be more. I'm pretty sure like Canucks season tickets are around $4,000 or $5,000 a season, which is just ludicrous. I don't know how anyone does it, but can I just take the conversation back a moment? My whole Premier League Pass idea. Quick Google search, right? Roughly 643 million homes receive, that's the figure I found, receive the Premier League signal in some way, shape, or form during the course of a season. Okay. 643 million homes worldwide. Right? So if the Premier League said we're going to do this ourselves and charge a flat $100, that would be $64.3 billion they would make.
Ooh.
If every home bought the League Pass.
Right.
Now, if you had access to every Premier League game for $100, I don't care where you live, a lot of damn people are going to take it. Obviously not all of them, right? Obviously not all of them, but a mega number. Like somebody's not thinking about this over there.
And you can add in value too. Like you can add in highlight packages. You can add in like a weekly show. Like I think what MLS does with Apple TV is kind of cool. Kind of cool, kind of not. But they show all the MLS games, and they have like they're doing all the production pre-match shows, highlight shows, like a weekly preview, wrap-up shows. They're doing so you could make it kind of like a Premier League network type thing. and it put like archives in there of old past match, like
Yep.
put them up there, watch them anytime. Yeah, if it was only $100, that'd be a steal.
But then,
And we
Michael
both know
Owen,
it would
Michael
be- it
Owen
would
will be
be
out of a
more-
job. What's Michael Owen gonna do?
But you know, we both know it would be more than that if they charged for it, and
yeah,
a lot of people would pay. But even if a quarter of them did, we're talking mega money, enough money to have your own network. You wouldn't even need other people.
Yeah, the NFL charges
Canada's doing it.
300 to 400.
I mean, it must come down to the countries then, because Canada's kind of doing it, right? You guys got all the games, so that maybe that's what it is. Maybe the U.S. government or whoever, the U.S. soccer corporations, are just screwing over the people here. You know,
they're worried about taking people's eyes off of MLS.
Exactly. Hey there, hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider subscribing to the 91st Minute here on YouTube. Also, feel free to use the links in the description to follow us on all social media platforms.